So, Ginger,
Yeah?
you know how we wanted to start a podcast, but we were having trouble coming up with a topic?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my pitch. The topic of the podcast is us trying to come up with the topic for the podcast.
What? Like we pitch each other podcast ideas and that's the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. We could call it, What Should Our Podcast Be About?
Miles, that's really stupid. Let's do it.
What should this song be about? I'm trying to figure it out. What should this song be about? Could you perhaps help me out? I've had a moment of doubt. What should this song be about? Welcome to What Should Our Podcast Be About? The podcast where we try to figure out what this podcast that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm Miles Grover.
And I'm Ginger Barham.
Yay, the real Ginger is back.
Woohoo! Except no imitations.
Yeah, it was not a particularly good imitation.
Particularly don't accept those imitations.
Yes. So last week I was by myself because you were out of town.
That was just you, huh?
I know, it's hard to believe, even though you were the one who wasn't there.
It felt like I was there.
It so totally did. It totally didn't, actually. It was real weird recording.
I mean, you pulled it off. A one-man podcast.
It happened. I don't know if I pulled it off, but it did happen. I guess there's lots of people that do just a one-person solo podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they have guests, or maybe they just talk about certain topic. I don't know.
It's weird to me because, I guess I could see it for like an educational podcast. I tend to like to listen to podcasts that are more conversational, though. So
yeah,
it's a little odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, there are different styles of podcast, obviously, as that's kind of what this show is about. But I think what I like in podcasts is feeling like I'm part of a conversation, even though I'm obviously not participating with the people on the speakers, but parasocial relationship kind of thing, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way, though. Did you have any thoughts about any of the stuff I talked about last week?
Well, I thought maybe we could talk more about your frog idea.
I thought you might like the frogs idea. I don't know what else.
You just gotta pick an animal. Just pick any animal, and I'm gonna be into the idea.
Right, just about any animal.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have that podcast where we talked about some animals that are trying too hard. Mm-hmm. And so there are probably a few animals that wouldn't work with, but frogs are not one of them.
Yeah. Frogs are great. There are a couple frog-based Instagram accounts that I follow.
Do you have any frog facts to share or frog anecdotes even?
Frogs?
Favorite frogs?
I mean, my favorite frog is obviously Michigan J Frog.
The hello my honey, hello my baby,
hello my ragtime girl. Yep.
Okay. And why?
If you refuse me, honey, you lose me.
Your favorite part is when he says, if you refuse me, honey, you'll lose me, which is the point of refusing someone.
Yeah. It makes no sense, but I love it.
I guess he's saying don't play hard to get with me.
I think I just really like the way he sings it.
Yeah.
If you refuse me, honey, you lose me.
Yeah.
I like the old-timey voice.
And there's the whole cartoon that goes with it where the guy's like trying to get rid of the frog, or different guys are trying to get, is it one guy?
He's not trying to get rid of it. He's trying to tell people about it.
Oh, right.
And nobody believes him. And he slowly goes crazy.
But it goes across time periods or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Like he's in the future, or there's something in Rome.
That might be a sequel one.
Okay.
In the original one, I think he goes to a talent agency.
Right.
I just remember he's nervously chain smoking a lot.
Right. As you do in cartoons from the 50s or whatever.
Yeah.
So how about a podcast where we try to half remember a cartoon we saw one time and talk about what happened in it?
How about we just go more granular and just do a Michigan J Frog Fancast?
So specifically the couple of episodes of Looney Tunes that Michigan J Frog is on.
Uh-huh.
And I guess we could also talk about, he was like the mascot for the WB channel for a while or something, I feel like. Yeah. Something like
quite
that.
A while, yeah.
And they would just play him dancing in between stuff or whatever.
Yeah. It's interesting how, you never know. I guess that was going viral back in the day, probably, right? That cartoon became so popular.
Yeah, I guess it was
a very short one.
It was like a meme, people just love the frog, I guess. Or it was iconic, maybe you could say. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I'm down for that specific of a podcast, but do you have other ideas, or do you want me to get started? I feel like
I have
you
a few
should start.
ideas.
I feel like you should start because I did all the ones last time.
Okay. All right. Well, I can start. I have a couple ideas this week. My first idea is called Literally Screaming, and it is a podcast where we just review ice cream.
Okay. Thought you were just going to say we literally just scream into the microphones, which would fit the title and would work for this podcast since it's a pretty bad idea for a podcast.
That could be our opener.
Just screaming.
Just screaming. Yeah.
Okay.
We could play like different screams.
Literally screaming. Okay.
Yeah.
So ice cream review podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. This idea was really just so we could eat lots of ice cream.
Which we normally don't do. Definitely.
I mean, we don't like keep it in the house. I would say
we don't. Yeah. I mean,
we're not always eating ice cream. I feel like ice cream is a sometimes food for us.
So you're saying you want to fix that problem.
Yeah.
The problem of us only sometimes eating.
Yeah. Not
too much
eating
ice
enough
cream.
ice cream. Go to the grocery store. Because like, we go to the grocery store and I feel like, no, if I buy ice cream, I'm going to eat a lot of ice cream. So I don't buy ice cream. But like, if I go to the grocery store and we're like, it's research.
Right. So you're looking for a life hack to stop yourself from having good impulse control.
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds bad.
Okay, so what would we do?
I'll also like stop myself from having good impulse control. It's not really a life hack I need, I don't think.
Well,
in general.
That was sort of.
I mean, I feel like I'm doing an okay job with ice cream, but in general, I feel like it's not one of my
I have a feeling.
strengths.
I have a feeling that hardly anybody needs a podcast to help them get worse impulse control.
Yeah.
Because if you already have good impulse control, you could just stop.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess.
That's true. Does anybody want to listen to a podcast where people are eating ice cream and reviewing it?
Would we be eating ice cream on the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, if we want it to double as an ASMR podcast. Is that ASMR that anybody wants?
I don't know if anybody who was looking for an ASMR podcast would click on one that said literally screaming.
That's a fair point.
Okay. So, but we would just talk about the flavors we like. We would talk about brands, I guess, that are good of ice cream.
Yeah,
would we try to get exotic flavors of ice cream?
So, like most of my ideas, I didn't really think it through.
Most of your ideas for the podcast and in life.
And in life, yeah. I just went with, this is a good title, and I like ice cream. And that is as far as I got. I was like, let's save it for the podcast, Ginger.
Okay. Well, did you notice that we are now on the podcast?
Oh, right.
And so I'm asking for brainstorming, not for you to turn in your homework.
Oh. I did notice that I'm on a podcast right now.
Okay, good.
Because of the microphone in my face. Yeah, I mean, I think let's eat the ice cream on microphone.
Okay.
Because that will
get some good slurpy sounds.
Pad our running time. And I feel like it's going to be like difficult to talk about ice cream, one flavor of ice cream for like a lengthy amount of time. So we got to pad it with some eating.
Yeah. I mean, what we could do something like we get, mint chocolate chip from like 5 different brands and try them all and
try
say
the different mint
which
chocolate
ones
chip.
are good based on the flavor, the color, I guess. Like the visuals, I guess, are sort of important-ish too, maybe. Not to a podcast listener, but.
Could this be a life hack for eating less ice cream? Because I could already see I'm going to get sick of ice cream. And then maybe I don't want ice cream anymore.
So it's like a get it all out of your system kind of way or kind of thing.
Right.
I don't think that would work on me because I would get sick of ice cream for a day or two maybe and then probably want ice cream again.
What if you eat ice cream until you're sick and then it becomes like the thing where you can't drink vodka?
Right. Actually, I think that happened to my sister. I think Sarah can't eat strawberry ice cream because she barfed it one time as a kid.
Yeah.
Or at least she used to not be able to.
Yeah. So it's like a psychosomatic thing.
Or yeah. So you're saying every episode we eat ice cream till we vomit is the podcast now?
Well, I don't know about every... I was just saying we might get sick of ice cream, but I mean, like, if you want to get sick of ice cream, it sounds like you're gonna have to vomit.
That might do it for me. So now the idea has turned into Literally
Make Miles hate ice cream.
Literally one episode, and then we can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I see some flaws in that idea, but maybe we can get past them. Okay.
All right, what do you got? You got something better than that stellar idea?
No. Well, maybe. No, probably not. Let's see. What have I got? I have a bunch of stuff. One idea I had that's pretty bad is a podcast where we just talk about stuff that is sponsored on all the other podcasts, like Casper mattresses and
Babbel.
Squarespace and Babbel.
Are we just giving free advertising right now?
Well,
no one listens to our podcast, so it's fine.
True, and they won't if this is our idea. But the thinking was that if we're already talking about all that stuff, then the advertisers will super want to sponsor us, maybe, because we're super targeted, and anybody who listens at that point wants to hear about HelloFresh. And
so are we reviewing these things, or are we just talking about them?
I didn't get that far.
Are we just like pitching things?
Talking about them in some way.
Okay.
I guess in a positive way.
Yeah.
Or, okay.
So your idea for podcast is just one long ad.
Yeah, it's like the part you skip on all the other podcasts.
Okay. Well, this is worse than my idea.
Yeah, okay. So we've got a benchmark now. We could twist it, and instead we talk about the things that are advertised on other podcasts, but like a different brand, right? So instead of Casper mattresses, we talk about Purple mattresses. Or Helix mattresses or whatever. And instead of Squarespace, we talk about Shopify. And instead of...
Do you think nobody's advertising Shopify or Purple or...
Well, I don't hear those on podcasts very much. Okay. Obviously, I've heard of those things, so they've gotten
they're just not reaching out to podcasts, so we're going to tap into an untapped market?
Well, no, my thinking is we make the ones that do advertise on podcasts jealous.
Yeah.
Because
do you think any of this is how marketing works?
This is definitely how marketing works. I did actually work at a marketing company for a while, and yeah, definitely how it works.
Yeah, they were frequently jealous.
Yeah, you got to make the advertisers jealous, the other advertisers in the same category jealous. Actually, that probably does kind of work in a way. If you have a really good ad, they might copy.
Yeah, the key there being a really good ad.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, just talking about the other brands might not make them jealous, I guess.
Yeah.
It might be that the entire concept and premise of this podcast is incredibly stupid.
I would say that's a strong possibility.
I think that I guess I have to quit the podcast now because this idea was not a good one. I expect more from you. Really?
No.
Have you been on this podcast the whole time?
I don't.
Well, there was one episode you weren't on, I guess.
But just up there in terms of if I'm going to rank the podcast that I don't want to do, I think it's up there.
It's up there. How does it rank against Toilet Talk?
Oh.
How does it rank against Toilet Talk in terms of what if you want to do it, and also in terms of if anyone would want to listen to it? I mean,
I do think people would listen to Toilet Talk before
just the part you skip.
Just the part you skip, yeah. Because at least there's an intrigue factor with in terms of oh, I'm gonna listen to people go knock on random strangers' doors. And ask them about their toilets. Let's see how this goes.
Honestly,
there's a car crash can't look away kind of factor there.
Honestly, if someone made Toilet Talk, I would listen to at least one episode just to see.
Yeah. But the ad one
would be a hard sell.
Yeah.
Literally,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a terrible idea.
It's a pretty bad idea. I guess
I also don't want to do ads.
Right. We would have to research whatever brands or whatever.
Yeah, so we're doing all the work for them too. They didn't give us any ad copy that nobody asked us to do this. Just decided to do it.
I guess at the very least we would have to go find an ad someone did, either on TV or on YouTube or something for one of those brands and say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an all around bad idea.
Sometimes when I'm writing down ideas, I'm trying to think of the absolute worst idea.
Oh, okay. So that's,
It's-
well, good job then.
It's kind
good
of
work.
It's kind of one of the jokes of this podcast.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
You don't have to get all didactic. I'm aware how our podcast works.
I am comforting myself, I think, is
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Is it working?
Yeah, that was a great one, Miles. Good. High five myself.
Self 5.
Let's move on to a different idea if you
All
have
right.
one to talk about.
So I don't have a title for this one.
Okay.
But and I think you're really going to love this idea based on what I know about you.
Okay.
It is a podcast where we just review children's albums, music albums.
Okay. Because you've been listening to the Snoop Dogg children's album lately.
And which slaps, honestly.
It's fine.
It slaps.
It's better than a lot of them, but a lot of it is the same as a lot of them, basically. Because a lot of the songs are just, Frere Jacques or Mary Had a Little Lamb or ABCs, just with different words about like hygiene or being nice to people.
But Snoop Dogg is there.
Snoop Dogg is there. That does bring the whole thing up a bit.
Yeah.
Also, if you're just like telling your friends, I was just listening to Snoop Dogg's children's album. That's a good conversation starter, I guess. A cool factor to it or something.
Yeah, the affirmation song is particularly good.
Yeah.
Listen to that if you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
Maybe you can put a clip of it in here.
Yeah, I can put in a clip of that probably.
Affirmations are positive statements that help us to challenge and overcome when you're not feeling good and have negative thoughts. So repeat after me. Come on, everyone.
I do enjoy the first They Might Be Giants children's album, No, and a couple songs on some of the later, because they have Here Come the ABCs and Here Come the 1, 2, 3s and Here Comes Science. I think those are 3. Those might ABCs and 1, 2, 3s could be one album, I forget, but they have 2 or 3 other ones as well, which have some songs I like okay, but
I think a bonus this is like finding children's albums that we can tolerate, listen to.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that many.
Yeah, we never really did that with Svetlana, like my ex. We never like listened to a lot of children's music with her, I feel like.
Yeah.
So
Rory seems to really love music, so.
Yeah, I mean, we need something to calm him down in the car when we're driving because he hates driving in the car.
Yeah.
Or riding in the car, I guess.
Yeah, he's going through
he hasn't learned to drive yet.
He's a little ways away from reaching the pedals.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, knowing what a direction is.
Or, yeah. He's not good at holding a fork yet, so we haven't moved on to cars.
Right. Okay. So we know of a few albums we could listen to. I guess we would just go on like Spotify or something and look for children's albums.
Yeah. So there's a Presidents of the United States of America one that I have heard some of when I saw him. It's actually, I think it's the lead singer. I think it's his solo thing. What's his name?
Chris Ballou or something like that?
Yeah. So he put out a children's album, and I heard him perform some of it when I saw him as part of some festival at Neumos.
Okay.
Or,
in
Christmas.
Seattle.
Yeah, in Seattle.
Which is where they're from.
Yep. Which is where I'm from.
Right. You're basically the same as the presidents of the United States. Yeah,
basically.
You like peaches?
I do. I like peaches. Sometimes I sit on benches.
Yep. And
people are like, "What a lump."
You've experienced lumps before.
I like the Pet Cats.
Yeah. Yeah. What was their first big song? I'm trying to remember.
Ooh, I'm Lump, right?
Yeah, I guess it was probably Lump.
Yeah.
And then Peaches was big.
Yeah.
Is that song just called Peaches? Whatever.
Yeah.
How about Presidents of the United States of America, but not the political office?
Fancast.
That's the title.
That's the title. It's a very long title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I listened to anything beyond their first album.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I definitely listened to the first album a lot.
Yeah. I remember their thing was that they removed some of the strings from their guitars so that they would just be playing simpler songs or something.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Seems like an easier way to get into learning how to play guitar, I guess.
Yeah.
It is. I don't play guitar I can play one song on guitar kind of. And it is hard when you have to not strum some of the strings. Like on ukulele, you strum all the strings pretty much
Yeah,
always.
okay, yeah. That's a good point, and probably part of the reason I stopped trying to learn to play the guitar.
Yeah. Life hack.
Life hack.
Learn how to play an instrument by removing some of the strings so it's easier,
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, it worked for them.
How about a life hack podcast that's
life
all
hack.
stupid life hacks?
All stupid life hacks.
Actually, didn't
yeah.
Svetlana already suggest that? Maybe.
Did she?
If she didn't suggest it on this podcast, she suggested it to me, probably.
In person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a whole Svetlana life hacks thing we talked about at some point. All her life hacks were like hide it under the couch in a shoebox or it was dumb.
Oh yeah, we had we did record one episode I think just like on my iPhone or something like of Svetlana answering
was it the Svetlana McScience?
Svetlana McScience. We did a theme song and everything.
Yeah, next time Svetlana is around, we should record and we should talk about that on this podcast.
Yeah, I think that could be a fun guest podcast.
Yeah, if you are listening to this podcast and you somehow didn't figure it out, the reason that we're making the podcast we're making is because we tried several other random weird ideas for podcasts that didn't really work out.
Yeah.
And so this is just that, but that's the podcast.
Yeah. Maybe someday we'll release the episode that we did with Svetlana.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was a few years ago.
Yeah, so she was a couple years younger.
Yeah. And a little bit even more ridiculous than she is now.
Right.
She's still ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. So what were we talking about? We were talking about
a podcast where we review children's albums.
Right.
Was where we started.
And not specifically Presidents of the United States of America or Curse of Baloo.
Yeah.
Okay. So we would just...
There's a lot of Kid Bops albums we could review.
That's true. Those... I don't know if those are even... Because Kids Bop is the one that's just kids' versions of regular songs, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if there's even much to review there. Maybe it would be funny to talk about how they censor songs and stuff, right?
Yeah, well, like, some of them are better than others, right? This was pretty creative what they did here. Oh, they really phoned it in with this one.
Right.
We could also do a podcast where we do better parodies of songs, because you're pretty good at that. I really enjoyed your Welcome to the Jungle parody earlier today.
Yeah, I mean,
you want to give the listeners a taste of that?
It was
we were getting ready to put Rory down for a nap.
Yeah, and I was like, nap, no, nap. And then I was like, welcome to the bedroom, there's no fun in games, which I don't think is even quite the right melody, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, making up random little things of little parodies based on what's currently going on is a thing I do, but I don't know if it's a podcast.
Kids parodies, but like just for babies, only for babies.
Just for babies.
Podcast for babies.
Yeah.
I know we've had that idea before.
We've had that idea, yeah.
But this one might be.
This could be the hit.
This could be the hit one.
Podcast for babies. I mean, we do go on YouTube and search videos for babies or whatever, right? Like, people probably search podcasts for babies.
Yeah. What things do babies like to listen to?
I mean,
songs.
We could do a Miss Rachel type thing, but crappier, and we don't need visuals.
Yeah. Babies like music. That has been proven time and again.
Babies do like music, but they also like visuals. And I think if we put a podcast on for Rory, he would not pay that much attention to it, probably.
But he loves the Happy Song by Imogen Heap.
He does. He does love the Happy Song. But
so there's formulas that work.
Well, but he listens to that because he's trapped in his car seat and we put it on and it makes him okay. But
he listens to it in the house too.
Well, yeah, we put on the music video for him.
But sometimes we put on just the song. I mean, he's not going to be like, babies are never going to be like a rapt audience, right?
Right. Well, he is, though, for Miss Rachel sometimes. For
well,
a little
yeah.
while,
I mean, but for an audio medium, probably.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
but if he's like listening to it while he plays with his toys.
Yeah, maybe. We could try to design a podcast that is for babies to be chilling out while they're doing other stuff, I guess.
The Chill Babies podcast.
Chill Babies. What's up, you chill babies? all right, I don't think I want to do that, but
Okay.
it could. It's not a bad idea. It's actually not a bad idea, which makes it a bad idea for this podcast.
It's just an idea that it is an idea that would take some work and research,
Yeah,
probably, and we are allergic to research.
And it also might already exist.
Yeah,
we
it
haven't. We
probably
actually haven't
does.
searched for that.
Probably does.
But reviewing children's albums, is there anything else you want to say about that idea? Is there any other, like, because we could have ones where we roast them pretty good, because there's probably a lot of bad ones.
Yeah. I mean, that is a downside to it, is probably we're going to listen to a lot of things that we do not enjoy.
Oh, for me, most of it will probably be that.
Yeah.
I mean, because I like a handful of stuff that's like, it's for children, but it's also for adults. Right? Like, They Might Be Giants' first children's album had a number of songs on it that I already knew about from like demos and stuff they had done. They were just adult, like they're regular songs, but like they had themes that could work for children or whatever. Right? Like 4 of 2 is on their first album, and that's a song about like waiting for somebody for a date, and you keep looking at the clock even though time is obviously passing. The clock is apparently broken, and you're like, she's coming at 2:00 and it still says it's 4 minutes till 2, and even though the sun has gone down, I know she's gonna show up any time because it still says 4 of 2 on the clock. That's not a song for children really, but it kind of works. It's like a upbeat song or whatever, and it's at least sort of relatable to children, I guess. My point is, like, it's not really a children's album, even though it's a children's album.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing I can get behind. Stuff like the songs on Miss Rachel and the Snoop Dogg one, where it's literally just like, it's Frere Jacques, but we're saying please and thank you instead. Or it's, Here We Go Luby Lou, whatever the hell that is.
That one really bothers you.
Who is Luby Lou, and why are they for children? Because if I knew someone whose name was Luby Lou, like it's Lou, but he's Luby, like that's a pervert guy.
That's interesting that you see it as a person, because I always thought of it as like, here we go Luby Lou, like Luby Lou, like here we go, like doing a thing.
It's a dance or something.
It's just a random, like,
I mean, that's got to be what it is, but it sounds, I mean, here we go Ginger.
Yeah, well,
here
now
we go,
you say
Ginger.
now you say Luby Lou. I'm like, oh, it is a pervert.
Right? Luby Lou would definitely be a pervert. It's all in the
spelling, really.
Right. And also Luby Lie, is that what they say in the second part? Here we go, Luby Lie, or something. Like, that suggests that he's a deceptive pervert.
Did you hear this song when you were little?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think I knew it before.
I feel like maybe that's part of it. Like, because I feel like a lot of these songs you hadn't heard. I don't know why you had such a deficit of children's songs when you were little.
I don't know.
But or maybe I'm just a giant baby, because like I don't seem to get as annoyed by this stuff as other people do. I know a lot of people like find Miss Rachel annoying.
Oh, I don't find her particularly. I mean, she's annoying if you're trying to be entertained as an adult, but she's not like annoying in a general way.
Like, I don't get annoyed hearing it over and over again, really.
It's fine. Like, if you were like, I'm going to sit down and watch a video as an adult on YouTube and Miss Rachel came on, that would be annoying because it's not for you. Yeah. But she's not annoying, and what she's doing for babies all is like, makes sense and is probably good, but whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess I just mean like, I don't get irritated by this stuff as much.
I don't get irritated by her, but I do get irritated by some of the songs. I don't like it when the songs I don't like get stuck in my head, which happens all the time. Yeah,
I mean, I don't hate any of the songs really the way you do.
Yeah. Well,
so
think about that pervert Luby Lou. And
okay.
see what you think.
Maybe hate that one a little bit more now. But again, I listened to that when I was little. So, and you'd never even heard the Bumblebee song.
Yeah, it's weird because I knew that melody, but I didn't know those words, and I didn't know the other versions of it either. Here, why don't you do the song so we?
I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me? I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. Ouch! It stung me.
Right. Which apparently, because Ginger was singing that, and then I think it was on Miss Rachel or something.
Yeah, right after I talked about it.
Yeah, and then
on a new one.
Yeah, and I know that melody from somewhere, but I don't know where because I didn't know. Apparently, the original is the Arkansas Traveler, and there's a version that I looked up on YouTube where I enjoyed the the sort of story of it, because it's
Yeah,
like,
you played it for me. I enjoyed it too.
yeah, there's a guy. I don't remember the lyrics, but there's a guy. He's
got a leaky roof.
he's in a cabin. He's got or a house or whatever. He's got a leaky roof. A traveler comes and is like, "Hey man, you should fix that leak in your roof. It's leaking like crazy because it's like a waterfall or something." And the guy's like, "Well, I can't fix the roof right now. It's rainy. I'm not gonna do stuff in the rain."
Right.
And the guy's like, "You know what? That's a good point. What you should do is when it's sunny again, then you should fix it." And the guy's like, "Well, why would I do that? It never leaks when it's sunny." Right? It's when it does. I think it's like my roof never leaks when it doesn't rain or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good little
cute.
story.
It's cute.
But yeah, I didn't know that song. And the Bumblebee one is messed up because you like smash the Bumblebee or something, right?
Yeah. So the next part is I'm mashing up the baby Bumblebee. Won't my mommy be so proud of me?
And why would your mom be proud of you? And also, how do you know it's a baby Bumblebee?
Well, I think I added baby for the syllables.
Yeah,
But
probably.
yeah. It's kind of a
weird song.
It's kind of a morbid song.
Yeah.
And so I brought it up to you and was like, just assuming that you knew the Bumblebee song.
Yeah, and I
was like, isn't this song kind of creepy? And you were like, I don't know what you're talking about. No idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think my dad was like listening to the Beatles when I was a kid, and that's what I...
Yeah, I mean, I listened to the Beatles too, but like, didn't you go through a period where you watched a lot of Sesame Street or anything?
I did watch some Sesame Street. Yeah, I watched some Sesame Street. I feel like I found it sort of boring, actually, despite the fact that there was not only a character named Grover, but also a character named Miles on the show.
Wait, did you watch? So do you know that there was an old lady who swallowed a fly song?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think that came from Sesame Street.
No, but that's where I heard it for the first time because it was like creepy.
Yeah.
Because there was it was just a silhouette of an old lady rocking in a chair.
Right. Yeah, I have seen that as well. Yeah, that one. So we could have a podcast where we talk about the creepiness of children's songs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, there are some creepy ones.
Yeah.
I feel like some of them have been changed now to be a little bit less creepy.
Probably.
Even because they're just...
Because people are like, why are we telling our children about smashing bumblebees or whatever?
Yeah,
I don't know.
But that one didn't get changed. I mean,
No.
it was on Miss Rachel and she
neither
sang
is
it the same way.
There's the old lady one. She still swallows a fly and dies, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Or perhaps she'll die or whatever.
Yeah. You wonder where some of these songs came from. Anyway.
Yeah, let's move on from children's songs stuff.
Okay. Got another idea?
I have a bunch of ideas. So I have a number of ideas that are sort of along similar lines and also along lines of things we've talked about before. I just am fascinated by names in different ways, right? So in the past we talked about Puritan names, right? Like if Jesus had not died for thee, thou hadst been damned, or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
Barebone was that guy's name or whatever. And we also talked about the names of dogs, right?
Mm-hmm. You even made a
Pretty Man
generator.
I made a little app for it. Yeah. We've talked about names in a bunch of ways. So I actually have multiple different name things here. One is I was looking at different funny names for birds, like birds that have funny names, right? We know that there's blue-footed boobies and various kind of boobies.
There's tits as
There's
well.
also tits, bush tits, titmouses, great tits. There's literally a bird called a great tit.
Yeah.
And then if there's two of them, you've got a pair of great tits. And that's real bird talk right there.
Oh, it could be a podcast. I just want this pun title. It could be a podcast where we just talk about dirty bird names, and it could be called Dirty Bird.
Dirty birds. Yeah. Well, so
Dirty Bird. You dirty bird.
just dirty bird. Yeah. Yeah. So there's boobies and tits, and lots of birds also have some kind of breasts, right? Red-breasted robins or whatever.
Right.
But I was looking, and of course, there's also cocks, right?
Uh-huh.
A male chicken is a cock.
Right.
Male birds in general are often called cocks.
Right.
Right. So those are like the ones that everybody knows are like funny words for birds that are also like dirty stuff.
Are you gonna tell me some that I don't know?
Yeah. So I was thinking, what are some other? There's got to be other I know that there's other birds with weird or funny or dirty names or whatever. So I was looking through it. Looking through lists on the internet, basically. There's one called a dick sissel. Dick sissel.
Okay.
And
that sounds like something you should see a doctor for.
Right. Yeah, I've got a bad dick sissel. That's what their call sounds like, I guess.
Okay.
There's a bird called a rough-faced shag. A rough-faced shag.
Okay.
There's a bird called a satanic goat sucker.
What?
Yep.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Of course, there are another dirty one.
I want to see a picture of the satanic goat sucker.
Okay. I can look that up. Also called a satanic nightjar. Oh, and nightjars are fucking crazy looking too.
I mean, satanic goat sucker is much... Wow. It does look satanic. It's got like black eyes.
Yeah, and they have huge mouths. Like nightjars have huge mouths generally.
I mean, satanic nightjar is pretty good too.
Yeah. There's also a Dracula parrot, which is kind of good. It's this black parrot with red on its wings.
It's just a goth parrot.
Basically a goth parrot, yeah. So yeah, satanic goat sucker. Another dirty one that everybody knows about, of course, is peckers of various kinds, woodpeckers and so on. Right. There's a bird called a monotonous lark. Somebody just was like, that bird is so monotonous.
Does it just have like a monotonous call?
Yeah, I guess so. There's a bird called a go away bird, which is called that because, and I looked it up, their call sounds like, go away. Which is pretty good. There's one called a banana quit bird. A banana quit for some reason.
Okay.
There's a Hottentot button quail. Pretty fun to say one.
That's like a quail that's like going out on the town.
Yeah, I guess so. Fluffy backed tit babbler is a kind of bird.
That sounds like a very creative insult.
Yeah. You fluffy backed tit babbler. You fluffy backed tit babbler. It's a little bit hard to say. There's a perplexing scrub wren. That's the actual name for it. I mean, it's not the scientific. It's the common name for it, but that's what it's called. This bird is called the Oleaginous hemispingus.
Say what now?
Oleaginous hemispingus.
Okay.
Of course, we got yellow-bellied sapsuckers.
Again, sounds like an insult.
Yeah. There's one called a cha-cha-caca.
That
seems like
that sounds like something you yell when you're upset.
Or like something like a baby insult.
Yeah, baby insult.
There's a bird called a Geelvink megapode. Geelvink megapode, or Geel. It starts with a G.
It almost sounds like it could be like a weird fantasy name or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that actually will bring me to another idea in a moment. But there's a bird called a horned screamer.
Okay.
There's the Dracula parrot. There's a bird called a spangled drongo. Spangled drongo.
Okay.
There's a bird just called a drab seed eater, which is just about as like lazy of a name as you could think of for a bird. It's kind of gray and brown, and it's just eating seeds. I'll just call it a drab seed eater.
The bird naming guy was like ready to call it for the day that when he came up with that name.
Yeah. There's one called a red-rumped bush tyrant. Red-rumped bush tyrant.
That also sounds like an insult. A bit of an insult one.
Yeah. Anyway, those are the funny names for birds, and so I feel like either we just talk about these funny names for birds as a podcast, or we have just a podcast about weird names in general, and that's an episode of it, you know?
Or just a bird podcast, just a bird facts podcast.
Yeah, well, so...
it doesn't have to be just bird names. We can talk about weird bird calls, weird bird calls.
Yeah.
Talk about our favorite birds. Obviously, the Dracula parrot is now my favorite.
It's pretty good. I mean, yeah, we recently
no. I think it's the satanic goat sucker.
Yeah, not the Oleaginous hemispingus.
That satanic goat sucker was crazy looking.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy looking. You said one of the bird names, I forgot which one, sounded like a fantasy name.
It was the G one.
Geelvink megapode. Yeah. And so that brings me to another thing, which is I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I've finally gotten to the third act of the game, which takes place in the city of Baldur's Gate, which is a big city with lots of people in it and lots of random NPCs, basically, right? And it feels like the person who was in charge of naming the NPCs might have been like Justin McElroy when he's improvising names.
Like Crumbslore.
Crumbslore, Pinsky Dan. There's a bit on Mabimbam that we love that we've on My Brother and Me that we've like watched a YouTube video of a bunch of times.
Maybe you can put a clip of it in here.
You're going to get a personal stylist, right? Let me walk you through it. In a personal stylist,
What's their name?
Durmbum. And
Take it again.
Cronslum.
Take a third.
Frenchalore.
Take a fourth. What's wrong with you?
Pinsky.
Okay. That's the best one yet.
Dan. Pinsky Dan.
Anyway, so the names of the characters in so you're walking around in Baldur's Gate in the game, right? And there's just like random guys or whatever walking past, or you can talk to some of them if you want. But most of them are just random NPCs that have one line of dialogue and then nothing else, right?
Yeah.
So, but they needed names, I guess. And so somebody must have been in charge of that. And so I wrote down a bunch of their names.
All right.
Because a lot of them are just bonkers.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to save my favorite one, the one that actually started me doing this, like started me writing these down when I saw it, because I was like, what? That's amazing. And I'm going to save that one for last. But okay. So we've got a guy named Spatula Fargo. We've got a guy named Zumbo Pumbo. I think he's a gnome.
Spatula Fargo.
We've got a guy named Sauceman Chorizo.
Okay.
We've got,
someone was hungry that day.
We've got Hunkers Boolean. All right. We've got Drongo Bixworth, which I guess a drongo is a bird.
Drongo Bixworth's pretty good.
Yeah. We've got Twitch Broven.
Okay.
We've got Felgy Diggums.
Okay.
We've got Dart Dirtwood. I just killed him recently. And his buddy Churg Elvek.
Okay. Churg.
And there was nearby another NPC named Dilgar Sneeze. We've got a Blunt Scuncher is one.
Okay.
And then my favorite one, and there's a lot more. These are just the ones I wrote down. There's a lot of weird names. But my favorite one, and I saw a guy walking past. His name, Bunt Chugley. Bunt Chugley.
Chugley.
And then later he saw me breaking into a building and was like trying to do a citizen's arrest on me, but
you were like, I'm not taking you seriously.
Yeah,
your name is Bunt Chugley.
You're Bunt Chugley, and I could easily murder you, so leave me alone. Anyway, yeah, so there's lots of weird-ass names in that game. And
so you want to do a podcast about the weird names in Baldur's Gate?
Yeah, like an episode maybe of this like weird names podcast that I guess I'm sort of tossing around.
Okay.
I have another note here along similar lines as well. There's a thing called the Scunthorpe problem, which is a problem in computer science, I guess, basically, where if you've ever been playing a game or something like that, and you try to type in a regular word, but it gets censored because in the middle of the word somewhere, there's a bad word.
Right.
Like if you try to type assassination and it either gets censored or gets changed to like buttonation or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the Scunthorpe problem, because there's a town in the UK called Scunthorpe, which has cunt in the middle of it. Right?
Okay.
And so I was looking up some of the other things that have on the Wikipedia page for the Scunthorpe problem that have run into this. There's a town called Penistone in the UK. I think these are pretty much all most of these are in the UK. There's a town called Clitheroe, which has clit at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And I think that was the one of these, actually the town itself was censoring its own name in the software they had implemented on their website or something like that.
That's pretty great.
And we've got the Horny Man Museum, Horniman probably, but it's spelled kind of like Horny Man. Of course, there's the town of Sussex, which just has sex in it, and that can be a problem.
Right.
And then there's a town or a bunch of things there's like a region, I think, in France called Bitche, Bitche, like Bitche or Bitche.
Is that true? I thought it was Biche.
Nope.
Huh.
Bitche is an area in France. There might be that other thing too, but anyway, so that could be an episode talking about different like towns that have this problem, or places or regular things that have this problem where if you try to censor certain words, it'll run into this problem. Anyway, so I guess the idea is a weird names podcast, or a names or weird something along those lines.
All right. I think you just like Googling weird names.
That could be the case. Yeah, that could be the case.
Do we want to talk about? Do we want to pick?
Yeah, we should
an idea to
probably
talk about?
get to that because we are pretty far into the recording and we don't have that much time till Rory's probably going to wake up. So what have we talked about?
Yeah, the countdown clock has begun.
Yeah, is there anything that's hitting you?
All right, we've got frogs.
We did talk about frogs. We talked about weird birds.
Birds.
Bird names or just birds in general. Stuff about birds.
Or just names in general.
Names in general. We talked about kids' albums.
Reviewing kids' albums.
Presidents of the United States of America, but not the political office. Fancast. What was your first
Ice
idea?
cream reviews.
Oh, literally screaming. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So we would have to get some ice cream, I think, if we wanted to do that one.
Yeah.
And we don't have any in the house right now.
Yeah, sadly.
I had some pretty good chocolate ice cream yesterday.
We could talk about ice cream that we've had recently.
Yeah.
If we wanted to explore that further.
I mean, one flaw in that whole podcast idea is that, I tend to just eat a handful of flavors and I don't tend to be that adventuresome.
That might make you more adventurous.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to be, though.
There might be things out there you like that you don't know you like.
That's true, but there's also lots of things where I could eat it and then be like, I wish I was eating one of the kinds of ice cream that I liked.
That's true. But if we're doing an ice cream podcast, you soon probably will be.
True, I guess so. I don't know. Any of those? I guess birds. I'm kind of liking talking more about Dracula parrots and stuff.
All right, let's do birds.
But I don't know.
I mean, let's not do birds.
Yeah, I mean, we could have a rough-faced shag later if you want. But, satanic goat sucker. Should we talk more about? I guess. One problem with this is we need to find out about these birds, and that's research.
Well, we can. What other segments could we have on a bird podcast? Could we talk about our favorite cartoon birds?
Favorite cartoon. Okay, do you have favorite cartoon birds?
No, you go first, and then I'll think of mine.
It was your idea.
I told you I don't think things through.
No,
I just say them.
That's the podcast. I guess Iago. I'm just trying to think of any cartoon birds. But a parrot that talks like Gilbert Gottfried is fun.
Let's see.
I mean, there's Woody Woodpecker. There's Foghorn Leghorn.
There's Tweety.
Tweety Bird, who I do not like. Foghorn Leghorn's fine. Woody Woodpecker is annoying, but fine, I guess. Tweety, not real into.
What other birds are? What other cartoon birds are there? There've got to have been. There have to be some.
Toucan Sam.
There had to be some recent ones, like in Disney movies, right?
I'm sure. But I can't think.
Oh, that. You know what? I know what mine is.
What?
It's that rooster from Moana.
Oh, hey.
Hey. Yeah.
Right.
That's my favorite cartoon bird.
Hey is pretty good. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I haven't really thought about my favorite cartoon bird before, so
yeah. Well, I already took the best one.
That's true. And nobody can have no two people can have the same favorite thing.
That's the rules.
As we know.
Okay, what's your favorite real bird?
I mean, parrots in general I'm pretty into. Crows and ravens I'm pretty into, I guess.
Yeah.
I kind of like crows more than ravens. I feel like ravens have the higher cool factor in general, right? There's the Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, and they're just like, it's a cooler word.
Yeah.
Raven.
I mean, corvids in general are just awesome,
are cool.
And they're so smart.
They're smart. And parrots are pretty smart as well.
Yeah.
Like the African greys and stuff.
I think I would have a hard time picking my favorite bird, honestly. I mean, I would probably say crow, but I do like all of the corvids, really.
Yeah.
And then that bird that you see in the YouTube videos a lot, that like
the stompy bird.
That's
some kind of parrot or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's some kind of parrot.
Yeah. There's a YouTube video of this bird just like walking across the screen back and forth.
The bird has the best comedic timing.
Yeah, it's just like, and it's like stomp, stomp, stomp. It's great.
And it goes off screen, and then it comes back closer to the camera.
Yeah,
stomp, 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 stomp.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my top watched videos.
Yeah, I did look up, by the way, the bird that you mentioned in the bird watching one that we talked about. a yellow-throated warbler, I believe, and it is a real bird.
Oh, it is a real bird.
I thought
Okay.
it was, and I looked it up, and it is indeed a real bird.
Do you think that's one of those things? Do you think that I made that up, or do you think that's one of those things where my mind just pulled that from somewhere because I'd heard it before?
I'm sure you'd heard it before. There's no
Yeah.
way you made up yellow-throated warbler, right?
Well, I mean,
it sounds like a generic bird, kind of.
yeah,
But it probably does because that's a bird.
yeah.
Right.
But if I'd said red-throated warbler, would that be a real bird?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't believe I've heard of a red-throated warbler. I guess you could take a yellow-throated warbler and splash some red dye on its neck.
Let's see. Red-throated. Well, there's a ruby-throated hummingbird.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Red-throated warbler. There's a red-faced warbler.
Okay. So this podcast could be
Is it a real bird?
make up birds and see if they're real.
Yeah. That could be a
'Cause
segment.
there's
No, that
also-
could be a fun segment.
Because there's also, we know, a red-rumped bush tyrant.
Right.
So are there other colors of rumps of bush tyrants?
Yeah, it could be kind of fun to like come up with really silly birds and see if they're real.
Yeah.
Because every once in a while, we would get a real one.
Yeah. I just don't know if we would come up with stuff as wacky as Hottentot button quail.
I mean,
Hottentot
almost
button
certainly
quail
not.
or fluffy, was it fluffy backed tit babbler?
You fluffy-backed tit babbler.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be a segment too. Birds that sound the most like insults.
Birds as insults.
Yeah, birds as insults. I think this would be a podcast where we'd probably have some different
Yeah.
like segments.
Like the ornithologist's guide to insults. or
yeah.
something. You monotonous lark.
Yeah. Oh,
That's actually kind of.
You monotonous lark is pretty good. Yeah, or it could just be a bit where it's like, does it work as an insult?
Right.
Yeah.
So it could just be a podcast where we talk about different birds, ideally ones with fun names, and then we have a part where we try yelling the name at each other as an insult.
Yeah, we could show each other pictures and try and come up like, what do you think this bird is called?
Okay, that could be interesting.
Yeah. I know that's a little bit more like
A little more
visual, but we could like describe the bird and be like, okay, what do you think this bird is
Yeah, but
called?
I mean, if I showed you one of those.
Yeah, let's try it right now. You show me one and I'll try to give it a name.
Well, now I need to look up. Okay, well, what do you think this bird is called? Just why don't you describe the bird?
This bird, I am trying to figure out what's going on with this bird because he looks like he's wearing like a hooded robe or something. This is the red crested tit fanny.
Okay, now I need to find out what that's actually called. Oh, I think that's a cock of the rock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an Indian cock of the rock.
It's very weird looking.
It's kind of actually.
Maybe we post a picture of it on our Instagram. 'Cause it looks like it's like it looks like a bird wearing a costume on the top half.
Yeah, it also kind of looks like a dick.
It does a little bit look like a dick.
Like at least the way it's leaning in this picture, it's kind of like long and then it has a big lump for a
yeah.
head.
I mean, I can see why it's called cock of the rock.
Well, it's probably called cock of the rock because cock is a word for birds, right?
Right. Okay. Fair. But I mean, maybe not in this case.
Maybe not.
What is the thing? Is that its tail in the back? It's got a very weird
its
tail.
tail's hanging down, I guess, in a weird way. Yeah. And there's a rough-faced shag, if you were wondering what those looked like.
Oh, it's cute.
It's like a cormorant or something.
It's cute. It's like stands up. I like birds that like stand up like, oh, it thinks it's people.
This one's a hoary puffleg.
Oh, it just looks like a
Little
hummingbird.
Yeah.
Some of these, it's disappointing that the bird doesn't seem to match the silly name. That first one was especially silly looking.
The satanic goatsucker or the cock of the rock?
The cock of the rock.
Because the satanic goatsucker is kind of silly looking
The
too.
satanic goatsucker definitely seems like it matches its name. Like I could see that hanging out in a witch's cabin.
Yeah. Also, it says it's also known as the diabolical nightjar and the devilish nightjar.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I like all of those.
I guess people think this bird is gonna come kill you.
It's the inky
in the
black
night.
eyes, I think.
Yeah, I bet it has a crazy call or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it might be
It
one of my
probably-
new favorite birds.
Yeah. I just need to look this up. Why is it
We'll
called?
we'll share the satanic goatsucker on our Instagram as well.
Some authors report that in flight, the bird, meaning a satanic goatsucker, makes a plip-plop call like dripping water, which locals have also likened to the sound of the bird pulling out a person's eye.
What? Wait. Why do they know what that sounds like?
Yeah.
Are there birds that peck out people's eyes a lot that you'd like?
I don't know. It's not pecking.
It's just like...
It's like pulling. It's like plop or something.
Like...
Or something, I guess. I think that probably we need to be wrapping up now, though. So, do we have a title for this episode? Dirty Bird?
Dirty Bird. Yeah, I like Dirty Bird.
Dirty Bird?
Dirty Bird.
And that includes...
I mean, because what are the other... It's like bird is the word. It's dumb.
No, definitely not bird is the word. It doesn't have to rhyme, also.
I didn't say it had to rhyme.
No, I know. Just Dirty Bird and bird is the word. What else rhymes with bird?
Bird nerd.
Bird nerd. That probably exists actually.
Yeah.
As a podcast.
Yeah. I like Dirty Bird though.
Dirty Bird.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fine. Okay. Do you want to talk about our social media stuff quick?
Yeah. You can find all of our links to our social media on our website, coolpodcast.website. Please leave us a review on iTunes and Spotify. That really helps us out. Please subscribe. And biggest thing is please email us your ideas, because we like coming up with ideas, but what we like even more is talking about your bad ideas or good ideas, whichever. Just send us your ideas. You can email them to what@coolpodcast.website, or you can send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads.
Even on the Spotify stuff, where I'll probably leave a question and a poll maybe.
Yeah, leave an idea as a comment, and we will definitely give you a shout out and credit you.
I do want to say, if we don't end up liking an idea, it is not a roast of you for sending the idea or anything like that. I feel like it occurred to me that, like, if you send an idea, we'll probably talk about it and then reject it, because we reject most of the ideas.
Yeah.
We still super appreciate it, even if it's not
I mean, that's
one we go with.
Because that's honestly what our podcast is about. Is talking about podcasts we could make.
Yeah.
So, and I guess we need to come up with an outro.
Welcome to What Should Our Outro Be About, the podcast within a podcast where we talk about what this podcast's outro that you're about to listen to should be about. What do you got this week?
I don't have anything this week.
Okay.
You.
My idea this week, or one of my ideas at least, is we read a line or maybe a paragraph from a book as the outro of each episode, so that the listener will have to wait till this part of the episode to get to the next paragraph each week. So if they want to hear what happens in the Odyssey,
which famously people do not know the ending to.
Right. If you want to hear what happens next week, you have to tune in to the end every time. I mean,
they could just read the book, though.
I said the Odyssey, which actually would sort of work in this format, because that's actually sort of how the Odyssey was told back in the day. But it probably worked better with some page-turning novel.
All right, that's an idea. What about a podcast? How about our outro is just our favorite children's song this week?
Well, we can't play a whole song, probably.
Okay, how about a clip of a children's song? How about we just sing the children's song?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rory's awake now, so we got to finish up here.
Yeah. Maybe Rory does our outro.
Maybe outro is Rory sounds?
Yeah.
You want to make some sound?
You want to make a sound, Rory? Rory is smacking the table.
Smacking the table?
Can you make any other sounds? How about Rory laughing? Yeah? No?
I have a recording of Rory laughing, so I could just play that here for the outro. Should that be the outro?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Rory laughing. Here we go. All right. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
What was that podcast about? I'm trying to figure it out. Didn't catch what that was about.